You're now live. Hello.
Hi guys, welcome to the Brownston Gallery, my solo show this year. We thought we'd do a little live session and take you a little tour around the exhibition that we put together, and I'll maybe get a couple of questions in. If you feel free to post some questions as well, and I'll talk to you about some of my favourite ones and maybe how they come together. So let's
Without further ado.
Right, here we go. It's extra special this year because during lockdown it all got painted in here as well. So
Stunning.
So when you do arrive, obviously when it's massive. This year we've I put together 21 pieces of large pieces, so 1 metre by 1 metre and 1.2 metre rectangular ones, and then a whole load of smaller 30 by 30s this year. In fact, there's one painting that I did wanted to show you because it came in at the last minute. I wasn't sure if it was going to dry in time, so we'll head over to this one over here.
Yep.
It's the first one to show you. Of all of the work, it might be one of my favourite ones. It's called Sunbeam Sea, titled obviously because that like sort of strip of bright yellow, bright white in the horizon, and this sort of kind of more scumbled kind of clouds that's hovering above. So this one is one of my favourites. I get really excited by like this electric blue just on the horizon line, and this kind of hazy kind of sort of heavy sort of summer sky, and then these salmons and pinks in it. So this is one of my favourite ones. I wasn't sure if it's going to dry, but it made the cut, so that's really cool. There's another one. This one is a little bit more dramatic. It's just called Cyan Strip. Again, I've got this sort of distant, sort of cyan, sort of blue horizon line in the distance. So I really like this one as well. This has got some gold leaf at the bottom, just to give it that bit of extra excitement. Not sure whether the camera can pick that up, but with the neon pink.
No, it looks amazing on camera, but again, in real life, obviously, the textures are what's exciting.
And then, so really the kind of work was produced from January onwards, really. And some were kind of at the kind of peak moment of kind of lockdown as well, which is kind of interesting because the work, I must have kind of got myself into this sort of serene state of like happiness and like wanting to kind of lock down myself. So I kind of created these pieces which I think are kind of empty spaces that everyone just wanted to get to emptiness and kind of breathe deeply and find these sort of calm spaces to be at. So they all feel really quite peaceful, quite calm. And then the smaller ones as well. Some of the smaller ones have a little bit of texture in the foreground. There's sort of kind of nice flowers and foxgloves and sea thrift and things like that in the foreground down here. These are kind of have that summery feeling, those sort of hot summer days when you're walking on the coast path and you sort of stop and have a picnic and you take your photographs and stuff like that.
Sounds divine.
So that's what they're kind of about. I need to show you a couple more actually. There's one around here. That might be my favourite of all the small ones. This one's called Prosecco Pools. And I always I do enjoy sort of coming up with titles for some of these. Sometimes it's a little bit more laboured, it takes me a little bit more time. And other times it just
comes to you.
It comes. So this one is sort of, again, it's a little memory of a little coast path walk and finding those little kind of paths just off the coast path that go down onto these secret coves that you have to kind of scooch down.
Yeah.
And you've got the little rock pools and stuff, and the water's sort of fizzing a little bit, and you've got a little bit of movement in the water, there's a little bit of foam and stuff, and turquoise water. So yeah, the idea of that was kind of had that sort of feeling of Prosecco, you know, having a glass of Prosecco at the beach. So
Yeah, it looks great. And funnily enough, on camera, it's a bit darker. But that colour is beautiful. That is the it's stunning.
Yeah, much more turquoise than that one. I'm not sure if someone was knocking at the door there.
No, I might just go and let them in. This is just very exciting. This is live, obviously.
We're live, everyone. That's how it works.
Oh, well, the door was open, so not...
There we are. And then we've got this corner. Again, this is a beautiful colour on the wall here as well, actually. It really sets these off.
Yeah, they look great.
Again, there's two sort of much bigger pieces, the kind of distant, low tide, kind of turquoise sea kind of things. This one's titled Lacuna Tide. And lacuna is kind of a word for like space or gap. if you like, there's like a space within something or a gap or a missing thing. And it kind of has sort of two meanings in one way. In one way, you know, there is like a space in the horizon line here where the sort of sky meets the sea, and you can't quite really tell where it starts and where it ends. But also, it had this idea of space and that kind of sense of just sort of being out and there's nothing going on. So yeah, that's kind of the collection, everyone. There's, as I said, there's 21 pieces. Maybe we'll have a little walk around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot to take in. This one's incredible. And the light catches this one, like, so, it's so moody on this side. Stunning.
It's called low tide reflection. Again, you've got these sort of, the clouds down here. So I use a much wider brush. So I use like a 6-inch brush on this one. Use a palette knife, like a titanium white, maybe a little bit of Naples yellow in it. And sort of scumble that along, and then using a wider brush sort of pull it down.
So is that different from what you would do in the others?
Yeah, it's to get that effect. Definitely.
Yeah.
There's usually a signature in all the work, certainly down in the bottom.
Oh, absolutely.
There's usually down in this very, very bottom part, I'll use the palette knife and I'll flick paint, or I'll use really old brushes that I cut up and they're all like gnarled and all horrible.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll use things that I collect from the beach, or bits of rope and all sorts, and I sort of tie them on bits of stick, and I just sometimes I like to use things from the beach and start throwing that at it as well, and it kind of feels like I'm putting the beach.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that's really incorporating your surroundings.
Yes. So that's usually a bit of a signature thing that happens, but I think I used to do it a bit quite heavily a few years ago, but now I kind of leave it a little bit more subtle down the bottom.
Yeah.
So the bigger skies with just kind of lots of calm stuff going on. Again, with a lot of these, you'll find that depending on the time of the day, you get different colours going on.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot.
The morning light is, you get a different kind of yellows going on, and then the evening light, the blue tones come out, because a lot of these have about 5 or 6 different washes of colour on them. So I'll put like one wash on, let that dry, and do another one. So 5 or 6 different colours coming out. Some will be slightly thicker than others, so you get these really cool effects.
Is the time it takes, I know this is going to probably be one of those annoying questions, but the time it takes you to do, you know, one piece, is it roughly the same for each? Is it the same sort of process? Yeah. No?
The process is the same. If we go to this one.
Yeah.
So, this was called Best of Clouds, actually, but we'll
Gorgeous.
come on to the title in a minute. The process would be I tend to start at the top and work my way down. I usually kind of write something onto the bare canvas first, so I'll kind of write the sort of feeling I'm trying to get to, or the memory I'm trying to get to, just into the bare canvas first. Then I'll emulsion over that, so that's often where the title comes from first.
Right.
So it's embedded in the raw canvas first. Then I'll start on the top and kind of work my way down to the kind of horizon line, and then I'll maybe switch to a palette knife at that point, start putting in some of the thicker pieces. Probably then use the same big brush again, and then start kind of sketching in some of the other parts here, and then go back to the palette knife, add in the cloud area, and then some of the like rocks or headlands or whatever, and then finish off down the bottom. Always the bottom bit. That's the bit I get excited about, doing the clouds and doing the bottom bit.
Yes.
I get a bit more free, and it's always a risk. It's always like, it's really intense, because you don't know whether you're going to mess it up or it's going to be absolutely like just does it. And sometimes, you know, they can take weeks, you know, you just kind of keep going back, or very often I'll feel it. It will just feel right, and I go, it's done. All I need to do is go back to the studio tomorrow and finish it off. So.
Great. Sorry for the phone ringing. Quick question. Do you have, this is always something I've wondered, do you dream about, like, just you've just started, and then do you dream about how you're going to progress?
As an artist?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I think there's I suppose when I was little, I did a lot of drawing, a lot of cartoons, really. That's kind of how I got into it. I just did loads of cartoons and used to copy other people's cartoons. And I've always been surfing all my life, so the sea was always like a key in all my life down here anyway, and lifeguarding. So the sea was the constant thing, and it's a bit like what writers say, you know, to write about what you know.
Yes.
Well, I know the sea quite well, and I know this coastline quite well.
Yeah.
It never changes its mood, and it's always going to. So it's always a constant resource for me.
Yeah.
And I never feel like I've fully cracked it. But so Yeah, the dream is always to be able to do this all the time.
Yeah, it's just fantastic.
And I had a bit of a mentor, a guy called Richard Godfrey. I've mentioned that a few times at these solo shows. And sadly, he's no longer with us, and he was a famous international ceramicist guy.
Okay.
He used to make these crazy teapots. He was the coolest guy, and he taught me lots about colour, how to mix really interesting colours, particularly green.
Okay.
Using yellow and black to make green, which is kind of not what you'd think.
I would never, ever have thought that.
So he was an amazing guy. He lives out towards, or used to live out towards Battersborough Cross. Out towards Mothercombe. And a super cool guy, and his kids are really amazing as well. They're good friends of mine. And he gave me the confidence to come here and approach Catherine. And I sort of said, when am I ready? And he said, we'll come back each year to the studio, to his studio. Paint with me. And then he sort of gave me enough confidence to say, go, just start at the top.
That's great.
Start at the top, go to the best gallery, and then...
and then it takes it from there.
Catherine was kind enough to give me a space, and it went really well.
Yes, it really has. Very well received. Yeah. And hello to everyone that has joined us.
Yes, sorry, I haven't said hello.
No, I know, we were just straight in there. Hello, everyone.
Have you got any questions? I don't know, we can have a few more pieces.
Yeah, of course.
Should we... Any questions, everyone? Fire it on there, and perhaps you can read them out.
Yeah, I will do. Don't be shy.
But gold, this one isn't in this series, actually in the previous series, but it's still here. This one's got a bit of gold leaf at the bottom.
Right, yes.
You can just pick up. Gold leaf is the hardest thing to work with known to man. You sort of put it on and it just sort of evaporates and just starts floating around the studio. We've got little bits of gold there.
Amazing.
Which is quite fun with it. So I kind of tend to let the work half dry, certainly at the bottom, and then kind of lay it on, and then using that you get that little bit of shimmering light.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what it's in.
Great. Should we go to...
Yeah, if you use one, there's a couple of a bit like this. There's these sort of evening sky over the horizon with the flowers again. There's a few that are like this, which I really enjoy looking at these, and I really enjoy doing them, getting these sort of pinks and blues in here. Again, they're really hard to photograph.
Really hard to photograph, but they are, like, this is a great camera, they are coming across very well, but it's just all the detail.
And naturally, I wouldn't do a solo show at Brownston without having a few at Burr Island. So there's always 2 or 3 paintings in the show here where I do Burr Island. It's such a special place for so many people, and I know that there'll be people watching live tonight that have bought paintings from me in the past of Burr Island, because it's the place they got married at, or they've stayed, or it's been an anniversary, or they've family holidays, or they grew up there, and it's such an incredible place. If you know it, you really know it. You know how special that place is. I used to lifeguard on the island there.
Did you? Yeah. Amazing. We have...
Gerald the fisherman.
Amazing. We have one question. What draws you to explore clouds in your work?
That's a really good question. Okay, so to answer that, we'll go back over to Vestal Cloud. So, a few years ago, I sort of started working on clouds, looking at Constable and a few other people and stuff like that. And I never really felt like those painting of the sunsets always feels really cliche, or you just really can't quite nail it. But there's something about clouds. I think firstly, compositionally, they work really well for me in this work. So they kind of add a nice break between what would otherwise be quite a big empty sky. So they allow a nice compositional break between it. But I think it's the endless movements of them and the colours that go on, and I like. So there's that the sort of aesthetic aspect of doing it bit.
Yeah.
I just love doing it. Like, so playing with different brushes and palette knives. So I'll put down thin washes, let them dry. I mean, this is why this is a good example. Adding little bits of like a neon pink, and a bit of orange and a bit of Naples yellow, to kind of, and again scumbling across, flicking stuff at it. You get really cool colours. There's a great paint for any artists out there. There's a great company called Holbein, and they do a whole series called Duo Aqua, and they've got about 4 of their paints which are kind of slightly fluorescent, and they do an amazing neon pink. They do an orange and a yellow, which I use all the time. They're really expensive. They're about 20 quid for the tiniest.
Oh my goodness!
But
they're worth it.
I love them. Yeah. So you'll see a lot of the work has it. I think this one has got a little bit of the orange in it just here, and again without it. Like,
yes.
It really needs that, and the same with this pink. So you take the two out and that purple bit out.
Yes.
But then you add it and it does stuff. But yeah, so going back to the clouds, everything I do it because I love it. I just love doing it, the act of it, and I love the result of it. And Vesper clouds, Vesper has like a connotations of like religious music, sort of church music, and that higher sense of like, I don't know, like, oh.
Yeah.
And that's when I go to the clouds, those sort of moments where you just go like, wow. You know?
Yeah.
It's those moments. So I was at the beach last night, fishing with my family and my little boy, and we were staying there really late. The clouds were coming in front of the moon, and this the light and the reflection of water, and it was those sort of wow moments. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
If that answers your question.